Matt, which player has the best matchup in this contest and you will think will be the top DFS scoring player?
Yeah, I mean, these teams both have good defenses, so the matchups, I guess, are pretty similar on both sides. But Cooper Kupp, I mean, should be the best DFS player. He's just, I don't yet think people understand how good this guy is. And with Deebo Samuel potentially banged up and Cooper Kupp looking as healthy as he's looked all year, I think you just have to go with Kupp. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to score the most fantasy points. There's a scenario where the Rams just coast in this game and their running backs may outscore him. But if I have to pick somebody, I mean, Kupp basically puts up 20 plus fantasy points every time he steps on the field, and 30 or more happens pretty often too. The guy is just a machine, so I'm going Cooper Kupp.
Okay, who you going with, Ulrich?
George Kittle. I mean, look, Deebo Samuel banged up. George Kittle a little bit embarrassed, had a really big drop in that game last week. And people are just going to forget, like San Francisco, oh, Deebo Samuel's out. How can they win this game? Look, they have Brandon Ayuk. They have George Kittle. These guys are just as good runners after the catch, too. They're absolute monsters. George Kittle has eaten up the Los Angeles Rams. He loves playing the Rams. He's gone for over 100 yards against them twice over the last 3 years. He's scored touchdowns in 4 of his last 5 games against them. George Kittle, especially if Deebo Samuel is banged up, Deebo's probably going to play. He might not be 100%. But I think this is a spot where George Kittle is absolutely going to show up. I love picking him this week.
I mean, would you go with Samuel even if he's not 100%, Pearce?
No, it's Kupp. You don't need to overthink it. It was Kupp last week. It's Kupp every week. It's going to be Kupp again this week. We expected Stafford and Kupp to pass a lot and be very active facing a really strong rush defense last week. Well, they're going to face another pretty strong rush defense. And so I know the Rams like to run the ball, but they're going to go back to Kupp. He'll have another big game. You just cannot guard him. The only issue would be the last time you mentioned it earlier when San Francisco beat the Rams. They had a 40% pressure rate on Matt Stafford. That's pretty insane. They typically are in the bottom of the third of the league when it comes to blitzing and hurrying and pressuring the quarterback. You look at the first 2 games of the playoffs, Stafford faced a 10% and a 5% pressure rate. That translated into 121 and 154 quarterback ratings. If the offensive line does its job, Kupp will go off.